The sun blazes down on New Shanghai, one of the largest floating cities of the 22nd century. It's made up of several smaller cities which are all connected together and float above the water on giant balloons filled with helium. If you want to travel between them, you need to take a boat. But before you set off, you need to book a slot in advance, because there's no predicting the weather at sea. You could be hit by a sudden windstorm, or even worse, a snow squall. That's right. On this earth, the climate has gone crazy. Winters are hot, and summers are freezing cold. Inside the domed cities, however, everything is perfect. It's always summer. Palm trees sway in the gentle breeze, and you can look up through the glass ceiling to watch the clouds drift past. Life here is comfortable, though there are strict rules, and if you break them, you can be thrown out into the chaos of the outside world. And trust me, no one wants that to happen. But what about the people who lived through the 21st century? If they were given the chance to travel back in time, would they choose to return to the Earth they once knew? The answer is no. The Earth of the 21st century doesn't exist anymore. All we have are the ruins. The rising seas have swallowed up New York, London, Tokyo, and dozens of other major cities. So the survivors did something incredible. They built gigantic floating cities, each one surrounded by a transparent dome that keeps the elements at bay. These floating cities are like artificial islands. They may not be very beautiful to look at, but they are incredibly useful. They're also the last bastion of human civilization. And of course, living conditions vary depending on your status. Only the rich, the highly educated, and the powerful have been chosen to enter the eternal cities. Everyone else had to fend for themselves in the outer world, a land of constant natural disasters and dwindling resources. It's a place of extremes. Sometimes it's bitterly cold, sometimes unbearably hot. There are raging storms and earthquakes, but there are also clear, starry nights and fresh fruit to pick from abandoned fields. We keep going because deep down we know we have no other choice. In the south of Asia, on the coast of what used to be India, lies a small village. It's made up of just a few dozen houses, and most of the people here have never seen a blue sky. Smoke from the factories that recycle scrap metal creates a thick haze over the land. The factories are located on the outskirts of town and are run by the government. Every day, thousands of tons of old gadgets, wires, batteries, and circuit boards are brought there from the neighboring Eternal City. The workers sort through the mountains of trash by hand, picking out the most valuable pieces and throwing the rest away. And it's these cast-offs that the villagers use to survive. They scavenge the beach for bits of metal, broken chips, and rusty tools. Then they take the debris home to try and fix it, hoping that it might still work. Sometimes they find treasures like bicycles, old cars, or even robot vacuum cleaners drained of power. But the children don't mind. They play with the robots and dream of the time when they can bring them back to life. Here in the outer world, there's barely enough food to go around, let alone spare parts for broken electronics. But surprisingly, among the ruins, there's one person who seems to have more than he needs. His name is Anar, and he's a real tinkerer. With nimble fingers, he dismantles everything he finds, then puts it back together in some new and interesting way. Sometimes he makes toys for the kids, sometimes he makes small machines that help the villagers with their everyday tasks. One day, Anar finds a battered silver box on the beach. It looks like it's made of tinfoil, but it's clearly man-made. He takes it apart and discovers that it's a mini-drone, and amazingly, the battery is still charged. As soon as he turns it on, a sweet female voice says, "Hello, my name is Nora. I am an advanced artificial intelligence assistant. Who is my new master?" In fact, Nora is the management AI. She is the one that controls the robot vacuum cleaners in our homes and manages the complex systems of the Eternal Cities. But how did she end up in the junkyard? Probably someone dropped her by mistake. But Anar doesn't know that. He treats her as if she were a queen, and she in turn becomes his teacher. When asked, she readily shares all the knowledge she has stored in her memory banks. Nora teaches Anar everything from history to mathematics, engineering, and computer science. Over time, he turns from a clever street kid into an outstanding engineer. He knows how to program bots, create new technologies, and most importantly, how to put it all to use. Together with Nora, Anar develops small but incredibly efficient sources of energy. He makes lamps that illuminate entire rooms and devices that purify water. He shows the villagers how to grow plants in the wasteland and catch fish in the polluted river. All this brings them great joy because finally they don't have to live in darkness and filth. They have a faint glimmer of hope that maybe things won't be so bad after all. Meanwhile, word of Anar's inventions reaches the Eternal City. The leaders are shocked. Can it be that in the midst of the ruins, someone has managed to create something useful? To check if it's true, they send a delegation to the village. The visitors are surprised by what they see. The coastal settlement has turned into a thriving community. The people are happy and optimistic, and the fact that they have electricity gives them an advantage over many other settlements in the outer world. The guests ask Anar to come to the city and continue his experiments there. They promise to enroll him in a prestigious academy where he'll receive free tuition, housing, and food. In addition, they offer him advanced equipment and research facilities that he can only dream of. In short, Anar will become a real star. Anar is torn. On the one hand, he feels sorry for the villagers who have known nothing but hardship for years. On the other hand, he can't give up the opportunity to improve his skills, not only for himself, but also for the sake of the people he cares about. Anar asks Nora for advice and she replies calmly, "You must make your own decision. I can only give you information and express my opinion." Anar thinks for a long time. He looks into the eyes of his mother and the villagers. They don't understand what's going on and are waiting for his decision. Anar realizes that if he leaves, even if he brings back all the technology he's developed, it will never be the same again. And so Anar politely refuses the offer. He stays in the village and continues to build and teach. Nora becomes the invisible teacher, and Anar, the seed of hope. He shows everyone that even in the darkest of times, you can find a way out if you don't give up. Years pass. The coastal village thrives and grows. Its example inspires people in other parts of the world to follow suit. More and more settlements begin creating their own sources of energy and don't depend on the eternal cities. The leaders inside the domes realize they have a serious problem. People are no longer willing to live under their strict control. The future doesn't lie in glass walls, but in the strength of ordinary people, so the story of Anar, the boy who once scavenged scrap metal on the beach, becomes a legend. Now watch another video. Maybe humanity will be able to reclaim the ruins of the earth and restore balance to nature. Or maybe this is a task for descendants who will live on another planet. Find out more.